a message for the Yoruba people. God has chosen us and given us the type of culture that is meant to unify the world, to unite men. So it is not because of the religion of the people who were preaching in Oyo towns in those days that our people began to attack them. Our people began to attack them because they were being rude. They were being nasty to our rulers, our chiefs, our culture, our everything. And so people began to attack them. And they began to run back to Hausa land. Then those of them who were Yoruba ran to the city of Ilorin, where there was already a rebellion against the Aláàfin. Rebellion was led by a man called Afanya. He was the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of the empire. His duty as Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò was to protect the Oyo homeland. Now he turned the power that was given to him against the Aláàfin. And when the Muslims began to arrive, he then made a public statement, a public invitation in 1817 to say any Muslim who is afraid in his homeland that he will be attacked, who is afraid in his hometown in Oyo land that he will be attacked, is free to come to Ilorin. And so large numbers of Muslims fled to Ilorin, and Ilorin became instantly a Muslim city. There was a man called Alimi, a Fulani man who used to go about peddling charms. Afanya invited him to come to Ilorin and make charms for him and his army. And within the army, the soldiers appointed him as their imam. He was no conqueror. He was not a conqueror. He was not a Fulani man conquering Yoruba land or conquering Ilorin at all. He was just one humble medicine seller whom Afanya invited to come and live in his town. Afanya invited many people to come and live in his town. Some of them were Muslims, some of them were not Muslims. This one man happened to be a foreigner who was a Muslim. And he became the chief imam of the Muslim community in Afanya's army. It was because he was in that type of position as chief imam in the army that when Afanya died, he was able to get the Muslim community in the army to appoint him as the chief imam for the whole of Ilorin. And he ultimately was accepted by the predominantly Muslim community in Ilorin as the ruler of Ilorin. So it's not that Ilorin was conquered by anybody from anywhere. Ilorin was not conquered by the Fulani. But after the Ilorin people had done that, the Yoruba people were horrified. What is going on with our brothers in Ilorin? They've made a foreigner their ruler. We must throw him out of the place. So volunteer armies emerged to go and attack Ilorin and drive the foreigner out. Unfortunately, they were not well organized, they were not united. They would go excitedly to Ilorin and sometimes without even fighting, they would be driven back by hunger. Finally, one major attack did occur in 1835, led by the reigning Aláàfin of the time. He lost because the army just disintegrated under him. And he himself lost his life. How he lost his life is a story that the Yoruba people must learn. I will find another time to tell that story. You want to hear it now? Be ready to shed tears. The Aláàfin Olúéwo was a handsome prince, very handsome man, and a very pleasant man, also a very courageous person. On his way to the attack on Ilorin, he went through many towns and brought a lot of people with him. But outside Ilorin, the army began to quarrel among themselves. Some said one thing, other people said other things. The end result of it was that the Aláàfin decided, no, we've gone this far. If nobody is fighting with me, I will fight alone. Nobody fighting with me, I will fight alone. So he plunged into the fight. And his son, his eldest son, plunged into the fight with him. When the fighting got bad, in the middle of the day, his son came, galloped to him where he was leading, where he was fighting like a prince, like a great warrior prince. Got off his horse, prostrated before him and said, my father, it doesn't look good, but we are Yoruba, we are Oyo, and we are the Aláàfin's family. We don't turn back. So goodbye. I may never see you again. So he got onto his horse and galloped away. He fell in battle. The Aláàfin fought and also fell from his horse, but he wasn't dead. He was badly wounded. And there was a fight over his body. And his body was finally taken into the city of Ilorin and taken to the home of the most senior man in the army, who was a Yoruba chief. And the emir sent somebody to go and see what is happening back there. They drove him back. This is not for foreigners. This is for us, Yoruba people. They knew he was going to die because he was so badly wounded. They wanted to subject him to the fullest disgrace imaginable. They put shackles in his legs. They bound his hands. And then one of the leading Yoruba chiefs took a sword and cut off his head. That's the Aláàfin. There were young men there. There were young men there who saw it happen. They were horrified to see what had happened. And almost all of them fled from Ilorin and ended up in Ibadan. And they were among the young men who fought the Ilorin army in 1840 in Osogbo and defeated the Ilorin army and captured the leading Yoruba men from Ilorin. That's what we Yoruba sometimes do to ourselves. When we have a quarrel over politics, we tend to want to destroy one another. The big question is, why? Where do we get that from in our culture?